One of the biggest culture shocks, because American school lunches are not like that at all.
YouTube channel that I do with my friends, how I eat in a week. Or like even my mom would be like, wow, like I really wish you ate like that.
It's really safe here. These kids are just wandering the streets. What?
Oh my god. Have y'all ever heard of the ketchup is a fruit?
Huh?
What?
My first K-drama experience was a show called Boys Over Flowers. Really rich Koreans, and they go to like this, I think it's a private school or whatever. The facilities were like over the top, like there's like screens and everything. All the students had like drivers and thought it was going to be fancy and grandiose and everything, you know.
The only thing I had reference to for Korean schools is watching dramas. So I thought, yeah, everyone wearing uniform. I thought that I'd be waking up very early to teach, and I was surprised to find out that I do not have to do that.
I feel like a lot of dramas too, like most of them are set in high school, maybe middle school. So I feel like elementary school, it's hard to kind of get a gauge because it's like you don't really see that type of school life in dramas a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing some pictures of like teachers that were vlogging their days at elementary schools when I was trying to do some research. Classrooms were like really clean. There seemed to be a lot of like effort put into like the upkeep. Also how like school levels like are exactly the same, like on each floor, like the kind of spacing is exactly the same. Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well.
I think I thought that I would have bigger classes than I do, a more rural area. But like I said, some of my classes are only like 5 students. I thought that I'd be teaching 30 kids or something at a time. I'm glad that I don't, because that's a lot to handle.
Sorry, I teach like 30 kids, so I'm like, girl, you are lucky.
I feel like especially America, I feel like 30 kids, 27 kids, that's like the norm. It was interesting seeing how different the class sizes could be.
Now I think my biggest class size is maybe 20 students.
I think my Seoul school, it kind of shocked me at first, really big. But even my Yeoncheon school, like both schools had security guards at the front, which I thought was like really surprising. School in Yeoncheon didn't have an elevator, but this one does now. I don't know any schools in the UK, like elementary schools that had elevators back there. Thinking that the classroom sizes were quite big as well in comparison to like what I've had in the UK too.
I feel like it was interesting having to relearn the layout because like where is the teacher's room, where is the library, like where are all these. Oh my god, one time I wandered around the school for like 10 minutes trying to find the library. I was so lost.
It was kind of a culture shock for me because how the school is structured in South Korea is so convenient. It's one building. In South Africa, it's
It's like they bought some
like a plot of land and they just started building classes wherever. So like if you have gym here and you have to go to maths, it's like quite a trek or whatever. There's no elevators or stairs. I remember one of my friends broke her leg and she was in a wheelchair and her class was upstairs. So they just moved everyone downstairs for her convenience. But here it's like there's an elevator and everything. There's the security. First floor is like administration, principal's office, whatever. Second floor is the third graders. Second floor, the top floor is like after school, music room, library. But like sharing the space was pretty nice because then, you know, if you had a tough class, you can all share in.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in the US or in the UK. So this is the English classroom and the students come in and they change like that, or the teacher goes to each individual class.
We have both, depending on what grade level you are in. So like elementary school, homeroom class, you just stay there. And then middle school and high school, for me at least, we change rooms based on the teacher.
But I think it was elementary, it was pretty similar here too, where it's like if you have a subject class, like if you have music class, if you have gym, then you like go to that area. That was another thing that was interesting, the teacher's office. So that's one thing I feel like we don't have, and there's not like a room for all the teachers to come together.
I was surprised like that there was a security guard, take care of the garden, the bus driver. There's so many different like teachers. Technology in my school is more advanced than I expected it to be. For some reason I thought I was gonna walk in and be teaching on like a chalkboard or a whiteboard, but we've got the nice TVs and everything. And some of my classes now, I think in their homeroom classes, they have iPads that they can use.
They use like mirrors or something to project it, so it's like on a clear screen, and then I can like write on the screen and just like erase it with like dry erase markers. Coolest thing I've got in terms of tech in my classroom. But we also have like, you can like rent tablets and stuff. So sometimes if we're doing special activities with the students, we can go to the science classrooms and be like, hey, can we have like X amount of tablets for like this periods and stuff.
I think one thing that shocked me when I first got to my school was how like strong of like the cleanliness, and not just as in like how clean the classroom is, but as in there's like hand sanitizer literally everywhere. When you go to the lunch hall, you have to wash your hands straight away. And I think in elementary school, like I don't really remember the teacher like making us do stuff like that. Maybe they did. Here it's like super strict, like you have to do that. Even like going out into the hallways, like there's always like a water fountain somewhere. Cleanliness and like convenience, like the Korean schools like definitely do a hell of a lot better than in the UK.
Brushing your teeth after lunch too. That's not
I love that needs to make its way elsewhere because people need to brush their teeth. You know, it just makes you feel like
I was like, change the game. No food breath after lunch. Wow.
Yeah, they're in such a routine. Like wash your hands before lunch, wash them after, and brush your teeth.
I was gonna ask, do all of you have cafeterias in your school?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
do you not?
I don't.
What?
No cafeteria.
What?
No cafeteria.
what do you eat? What do you talk about?
So-
do you go to a restaurant? Is it fancy, girl?
I wish. No, so basically the students all and their homeroom teachers all eat in their classrooms, and then there's like a separate like teachers lunchroom where all like the special teachers, the subject teachers.
So you don't have to eat in front of your kids.
Yeah, and the other thing is that my school, the lunch, it's all self-serve. Second grade and below, they have like helpers, but everyone above is just the kids. They're just taking their own food.
And I am not an attractive eater, especially if it's like fried chicken. I'm like, so now like I have to be like, and it takes so long to eat, especially in Korea. A lot of the teachers eat so fast. And I'm not a fast eater. Slow down.
The lunches were like one of the biggest culture shocks because American school lunches are not like that at all.
Literally, yeah. It's like there's a soup, there's rice.
Oh, there's like a viral thing on Reddit too where like someone just shares their lunch every single day and all the comments are just like, I'm so jealous, this looks so good. Me just looking at all of these posts before I came to Korea, I was like, soon I'm gonna eat these lunches.
Those ones where it's like comparing prison lunch and school. So I was like,
And a lot of the times back home, like a lot of kids would bring their own lunch.
Yeah.
Whereas Korea, you don't really do that. Even if my kids who have allergies, we have a list of their allergies, so we just won't make that, or they'll have something else that they can eat.
Because lunch is free. That was crazy. I was like, what do you mean you don't have to pay for school lunch?
Lunch is free in Korea?
Yeah.
They don't pay?
It's government subsidized.
Even
the students don't, the teachers do though.
Oh yeah, the teachers do. The students don't have to pay,
the teachers' pay is very low.
Yeah. See, that's crazy because in the UK, it's even a huge thing being brought up in politics right now about like free school meals. I was on free school meals when I was in elementary up until high school. Is a privilege, like that you should be lucky that you get free school meals, which is crazy. It shouldn't be a privilege, it should be a right. And so like a lot of like poor kids would just bring their own packed lunches because it was like, it could be cheaper in some ways, you know? But then the quality of our lunches like wouldn't be as good. Whereas like having free school meals and the quality being amazing here is just like, yeah, it's amazing.
And it being healthy food too.
Healthy!
Versus in the US, like you're spending so much money for lunch, but
For a
it's
frozen
pizza.
pizza.
Yeah.
Like chicken dippers and like smiley faces. I don't know how much it is per meal actually.
America, it was like $5.
That when I was in high school, I think it could get up to 10.
For one meal?
Yeah, because you could it's like self-serve and everything, and you could add on more. So you could get a soda for $2, or like you could add on chips. So if you added, you had to pay for the meal itself was maybe $5 to $7, but if you add on anything extra, it would cost you more.
No, I think in the UK like £2.50, maybe $3.
So maybe similar to what like
Maybe it's not, yeah.
In South Africa, we didn't, at my school, it was mostly you bring your own lunch from home. The cafeteria was only for the boarders, so it was just added to their boarding fees. It's what I imagine like American schools. It's like, I have a peanut butter sandwich. Well, I have a turkey sandwich. You want to swap? That's how I imagine it.
Also, it's crazy that you guys have like soda in your school.
Yeah, what is it?
Do you not have soda?
Do you guys know who Jamie Oliver is? Apologies for him. But there was a huge segment on like American school lunches and the British kids went crazy. Y'all had Pizza Hut in your schools?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
sometimes on Friday you would have like Pizza Hut day or something where they would bring it in.
It's just pizza.
Like we might have pizza
But
sometimes.
it's like
homemade.
somebody made it in the kitchen somewhere.
Yeah, but like they had Pizza Hut. I'm pretty sure I saw like McDonald's at a high school in a video. And then Jamie Oliver, who was like a British chef, went round and like banned chicken nuggets basically. In the UK, I don't know if it happened in the US.
We had kind of a similar similar thing, probably to a lesser degree, but like Michelle Obama had a huge thing about like promoting children's health and revamping the school lunches to be better for nutrition and stuff.
Several vegetables, carbs, protein.
Free fruit.
But it's amazing, like the diversity in the plate. Like in the UK, if I showed you a picture, it would be like beige, and beige, right? Yeah. But like here, like even looking at the pictures, like how colorful it is, and they even include Western food, but like they seem to make it like healthy in a way. Even if I don't like all of the food on my plate at my school, I still like really enjoy that there's like a big selection. I just love the plates. Like we didn't really have anything like that in our elementary school. Yeah, I just love how many like little sections there are. And
It's
like,
great for people that don't like food touching.
yeah, right? It's really good. I think in elementary school we might have like 2, maybe 3 like little compartments. I love how organized it is. Like the kimchi goes here, the rice goes there, the stew goes there, and then like the 3 different sections. Like I think it's really cool. It's all laid out really nicely and conveniently.
My school just got a chopstick and spoon dispenser, and it's sterilized, and you wave your hand over it, and it dispenses the chopsticks for you. Yeah.
Lucky.
Especially America, I feel like 30 kids.
Metal chopsticks and metal spoons. Yeah. And back home you would not have that, and you'd probably have a plastic fork.
That's the other thing that's nice about the metal utensils, because I feel like in America, because they always give us plastic, it's funny because I feel like they give us plastic so that you don't like hurt yourself. People would break that plastic and then you could hurt someone. It's like, what was the point? These are just flimsy now.
We had water fountains at school at home, but here they even have the metal cups that you can go get water during lunch. You said you have to bring your own water bottle. If you don't have a water bottle to fill up, then you're out of luck. Yeah.
It was interesting to see how that operated inside, and like it's a free-for-all like going to lunch. I feel like for us in our cafeteria, it was a free-for-all sitting down for lunch. It was like, where are we sitting?
My first day when they didn't tell me where to sit, and I sat down and realized that's the 3rd grade table, like that everybody has an assigned seat. Yeah, I'm like, okay, like where's the teacher table? I think I was shocked based on how organized it is too. I guess in elementary school we ate in our classroom, so it was different. But even in middle school and high school, you went to the cafeteria, almost like a free-for-all. Like the bell rings and everybody runs to lunch, and you just get in line from there. Whereas in Korea, at least at my schools, they have it down by grade. Everybody has to wash their hands, line up in the hallway before, and you go in a single file line, like get their lunch. And it's even blocked out on grade levels so it doesn't get too busy at one time. I was shocked by how organized and how smoothly it runs.
My culture shock was figuring out which compartment goes home. Because the one is definitely
this
rice.
Is soup.
And this is
rice.
definitely soup. And that is definitely kimchi on the side. But then I put the rice in the tiny one, and then like, and then someone comes and they're like, no, more rice. And I'm like, I don't know. I just got here. I'm new here. Sorry.
Past year, I had to help with serving lunch some days, because and I'm like looking, I'm like, which compartment do I put this in today?
Sometimes we have a pasta day, and then there's still rice. So it's like, where does the soup and the rice and the pasta? Like stress.
I don't know, maybe we did, I can't remember.
I don't think. Yeah.
Nope, it was just like, this is the meal, and if you're allergic, don't eat it.
I think it was just like the chef, like whatever they want.
Yeah, whatever the chef made, and then if you were allergic to an ingredient, just don't eat that.
We had cafeteria workers, but I don't think that any of them were nutritionists necessarily. I think that the US maybe has guidelines for their public schools, like overall, but I don't think the nutrition guidelines are that great.
Have y'all ever heard of the ketchup is a fruit debate in America?
Ketchup is a fruit or tomatoes?
I don't want to have this discussion.
Surprise me.
There was a whole thing in government where this one company, like they wanted to lobby for school lunches, because school lunches, the nutrition requirements, it's like you have to have like a fruit or a vegetable or something. They tried to argue that ketchup is a fruit, so they don't need fruit in the school lunch if you've got ketchup.
That's the most American thing.
Yeah,
I've
that
ever
doesn't even
heard.
surprise me. But here I think they have, like my school has a nutritionist.
Yeah, and they like walk around at lunch sometimes to like make sure everyone's eating well, and like if a student doesn't like something. Like I feel like my Seoul school, the nutrition teacher's like heavily involved.
And they plan it, it's very strict about like what each lunch has to have for it to be considered a nutritious lunch.
So at my middle school, her name is Stella. I met her at the beginning of last year, and we're like best friends now. So I know like the menu before anyone. It's great. And like the process is like, you have to have like the month's menu, not just like this week. It has to be like the whole month. And there's also like, there's the surveys that they send to parents, like what students are allergic to. So then she has to plan like, it has to have this certain amount of starch, this amount of carbohydrates. And I was like, This is so intense.
Yeah, and if they don't have something, they have to replace it, because I'll get messages sometimes that's like, oh, we don't have red grapes today, so we have this instead, like other fruit. They have to have it as a balanced meal. Whereas in the US, if you don't like something, you don't have to take any of it. So, and you can choose what you want to eat. So like in high school, if you just want to eat pizza for lunch, you can just eat pizza. Whereas here, like the teachers or the cafeteria workers will try to serve the kids, like even if they don't want kimchi, they're like, take a little bit, like you have to try it. And the kids are good about it too. Like I feel like they don't really try to argue. Whereas in the US, like maybe a little bit.
I was like, in middle school, that's when they start arguing.
At my school, at least, they made us eat at least half of our lunch before we could go out to recess.
So it was the thing where like,
And it was like objectively bad. It wasn't even like, oh, I don't like this. It was basically like an omelet, bean sprouts in it, but they weren't like crispy bean sprouts still. Like they were like really like wilted and like, so, like it was not good. And so force feed myself half of this omelet so I could, not even so that I could go to recess at this point, so I could leave. Like, I was like, I'm not making it to recess. I gotta go to class. So I had to like force feed myself half of it. And from that point on, literally until probably like 3 years ago, I could not eat bean sprouts because of that memory. It was so, literally, it was so bad. Seeing the quality of the lunch, I'm like, okay, I can eat this. This is good. Like,
I actually made a video on YouTube channel that I do with my friends, how I eat in a week at school. Friends from home like look at the meals and be like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. Like, how do you eat so well? Or like even my mom would be like, wow, like I really wish you ate like that when you were at school, you know?
Yeah, I've definitely set pictures before. They're always surprised when they see what our lunches look like.
I feel like the vegetables and meats and everything in Korea are very different from South Africa because I can't explain anything. How do you explain kimchi jjigae to like African? We don't know what kimchi is. We don't know what a G is or a gay is. What is this? Like what was happening? I have to explain each thing, and I was like, kimchi jjigae is from kimchi. Kimchi is fermented. It's delicious. That's all you need to know.
if your schools are close to each other, I feel like they like share plans or they like share a supplier. So like sometimes we'll be like, oh, I had this for lunch. And we'll be like, I had that too.
For Children's Day, my friend's school serves them lobster. But I'm never there that day. I never get the lobster.
Wrapping your head around it, yeah.
Okay. I have a few complaints from my school.
I feel like food waste was one of the biggest culture shocks when I came here. Now I'm so used to it that when I go back home, I'm like, second guessing what I have to throw away. I'm like, wait, I can throw everything away. But I think it's great how everything is so recycled here.
It's a shock for me because, you know, they're always saying like, you know, there are starving kids in Africa, you know. So I'm like, we are the starving kids that they're apparently talking. We're not starving, it's just an exaggeration. But when I saw it, I was like, it really was a culture shock because it's like, back in South Africa, it's like, don't waste food. You might know somebody who hasn't like had a meal for like a few days or whatever. So I was like, where is this going? And now like I've gotten used to the culture, and now like the recycling here is honestly, it's like the best like I've ever seen, because in South Africa we do have attempt at a recycling system, and then the garbage man comes and just puts it all into general waste. Yeah. And then it's like, why did I separate this? But here it's like, you will pay a fine.
Yeah.
If this jongi is not in the jongi, if this plastic is not, and it has to be the right plastic. Because there's the like the vinyl plastic, and then there's the plastic, the other kind of, I was like, this is so intense, but I love it.
There was a video that was like me moving to Korea and becoming a master in chemical engineering, like looking at all the recycling. I was like, I don't know.
I think it's more so shocking just to see the food waste too, but then you think like in other countries that don't, where you just throw it in the garbage and it all goes together, you just don't see it. But it could be just as much, if not more, yeah.
As I told you, we don't have any recycling thing, but we do for paper is actually pretty good because we still use newspapers. Students are actually given like point system for like how much newspapers and stuff that they recycle. So the paper recycling is pretty good.
It was really contradicting because we would do like an eco lesson about like how to save the planet and what to do, but then they would have no recycling bins in the classroom. Any rubbish would just go in the bin. So including like spare paper, things like that. Food waste, absolutely not. There was like no food waste bin. Sorting out recycling was just like never a thing.
So we would sort, I think, paper, maybe cans or bottles, because in the US you can return them for money. So you sort your cans and bottles, yeah. If you want to recycle at your house, you have to pay for it. Like you have to pay for the recycling bin and for them to come pick up the recycle from your house. So people just don't do it. Even though we learn about it in school and we'll do projects on it, it's not, I guess, as important to people as it is in Korea, I think.
No AC in South Africa.
Individual class.
I remember specifically they were like they wouldn't because of the electric bill. And then also if the class is too warm, we're gonna fall asleep, so we're going to make it freezing in winter so we can pay attention. It was so mean. Like every time we're studying Macbeth and we'd be like dozing off, the teacher opens the class and there's just like a gust of cold wind and it's like
We actually don't have AC like in the UK at all.
Oh yes, that is
the thing that you guys always talk about.
Yeah, we have double glazing, which is where the windows are like double glazed so it keeps the heat in. We have like radiating systems, especially in schools. We did not have like air conditioning in the summer.
So it's probably nice coming here. You can blast the AC in your classroom.
Having AC in your room is crazy. We basically suffer the whole time. We basically like drink a lot of water.
Oh no!
Yeah, we have a lot of water. We have like fans and stuff like that.
You need the Korea fans.
Yeah, we should. I need the portable fan really, but basically when it's like summertime, it's just like open the windows and try to like get a fan going.
Does it get really hot?
Nowadays, like the UK is getting up to like 40 degrees sometimes, like on a random day. And then I think sometimes if it's too hot, they'll like cancel school as if it's like snowing or something. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's like the opposite of snow days. And you guys have snow days, you guys have heat days.
I can't remember the exact details, but I believe we had a strike over it in Hawaii because it was like the air conditioning was broken and same, like it gets super hot and our buildings, like I forget what material it was, but they're made out of material where it's like an oven. You're basically cooking in your classroom if there's no AC. And so there was like a whole strike over it because teachers were like, we cannot teach in this environment. And the school's like, you gotta go to school anyway. And teachers like, well, we're gonna strike. Like,
even like snow days in Korea, they don't really take it that seriously. Like,
oh, my kids were shocked when I told them what a snow day is. Teacher, I want a snow day. I'm like, you're never gonna get one.
It has to be a typhoon for people to not come to school in Korea. I remember like
oh my God,
snow days, I'm like,
yeah.
But then like there's a typhoon and like children are being blown away in the wind and people are still going to school and they're like, okay, maybe 12 p.m. we're gonna cancel school. I'm like, now? We've already lost Johnny to the wind. In South Africa, it depends. Like once it started snowing, it doesn't snow in South Africa. When it started snowing, they were like, the world is ending. And it is snowing in Africa. Just hide your children to cover. And then here it's like
They just bundle up and send them on their way.
And it's like stuck in this.
The main thing about vacation in Korea, we just don't have enough time in the summer, I don't believe. Like in the UK, we break up for summer. Academic year ends in July for us, and then it begins in September. And so from like the beginning of July to the end of August, and like even the beginning of September is completely like summer break. Whereas I feel like in Korea, it's like 3 weeks in the summer, but then the winter vacation is longer.
One of my biggest pet peeves is it's so sad having to go to school when it's freezing cold and sitting in your cold classroom. I'm like, I wish summer vacation was the longer one. But it is kind of nice too, because in the US for winter, you get 2 weeks off for Christmas and then you're back to school. So having like in summer, almost a full month, and then in winter, like 2 full months of vacation is so nice.
Back home, we have like half term, which is like 1 week halfway through the term. And then when the term finishes, we have 2 weeks, or like a week and a half off. Whereas in Korea, we don't have that at all. We have like national holidays. We don't have like a week off or something.
We get a week for spring break. We didn't do fall spring break in school. We did fall break when I was in college, when I was in like elementary to high school. So just spring break.
The vacation system is very different. So with public schools, it's 4 terms, and between each term is a holiday. And then private school is three terms.
I thought it was shocking to me the way they do it in public schools here, where teachers have to move like every 5 years. Because back home, you could work at one school for your whole life. But here, we stay at a school for more than 1 year. Like you see teachers come and go all the time.
My friends who have done teaching in the UK were like quite shocked at how big the school was. I feel like in the UK, maybe we have like smaller schools with smaller class sizes. But the main aspect was how like respectful the kids were and how good the lunches were. That was like the 2 big things they took away from it. Well behaved the kids can be if I'm like, you know, trying to get their attention, or if they're like misbehaving behaving a little bit, what they do in order to like show their respect for me. And also a lot of people were quite shocked that I had a co-teacher. I mean, when I first came over here, people were asking, how are you going to teach Korean kids if you can't speak fluent Korean? And I was like, oh, we have a co-teacher who speaks Korean as well, and they speak English and they help out a lot. And I thought people found that quite nice. The Korean schools have like a really strong opinion on having a native teacher who speaks the fluent language and then having a co-teacher who can help teach. I think I would have really appreciated at school having like a native Spanish teacher or a native French teacher.
And I feel like teachers here are really helpful too. Even like planning school events, like they really split up the burden and they're all helpful towards each other and towards me. And the fact that you switch schools every couple years, I feel like the burnout is less because you're always changing things up and there's always someone there to help you.
One thing about the teachers actually that I really liked was in my old school, we had a school bus come in with the kids, and every Wednesday was like me and like 3 other teachers had to go out and greet them.
Yeah, I think principal and vice principal always greet the kids in the morning. They wait for the bus outside.
Like, it's really safe here. These kids are just wandering the streets. What?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I was shocked when I see like my kids on the public buses going to their hagwons and stuff. Back home, like you take the big yellow school bus to and from school, or your parents would come pick you up. If you had to stay at an after school program, they'd come get you after they get off work. But a lot of my kids either get dropped off by their parents. They just take the public buses, like me, or just walk to school.
There's a lot of apartment buildings around my school, so a lot of the kids, they'll just walk. They'll just walk to school by themselves. I feel like that's part of it, is like the safety. I feel like also just because it's so close, because I feel like America especially being so spread out, I feel like we need the school bus because sometimes your school is the opposite direction from where your parents work, so they can't go and drop you off and then double back. Trying to figure that out, the school buses.
Because in South Africa, there's no like bus. It's each child with each car because it's not safe to walk to school in South Africa. What they do is that some parents do have like the carpool thing where it's like the parents will have like pick up on their route or whatever. But generally, it's like parents take their kids to school. There are buses, but those are public buses and they don't go past schools.
The UK, most kids just go by themselves to school, or if it's like a rural area, then there'll be like a school bus. Most kids will just have to like go to a meeting point and get picked up from, We definitely don't have the big yellow school bus in the US.